I'm Mohan Sundaram, your Sergeant at Arms. Welcome to the meeting number 623 of Medley Toastmasters Club. Toastmaster International is a non-profit educational organization formed by Francis Medley in 1924 at Santa Ana, California. It teaches the public speaking and leadership skills through the worldwide network of 16,200 clubs. It exists in 145 countries. Medley Toastmasters Club was started on 3rd June 2008 at Gandhinagar Club, Adyar. I would like to share the mission of the Toastmasters Club. We provide the supportive and positive learning environment in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in a greater self-confidence and personal growth. In every Toastmasters online meeting, we follow these ground rules. Rule number 1, if you are not a speaker, kindly put yourself on mute. Rule number 2, when you are moving around, kindly switch off the videos to avoid the disturbance. Rule number 3, speakers are requested to refrain from making any reference related to religion, politics, or sex in their speeches. Rule number 4, kindly attend every meeting in a formal attire. Rule number 5, if you are a guest, kindly prefix the word with the word guest. That is, if Santosh is a guest, it will be guest hyphen Santosh. I wish you all a wonderful meetings. Now it's time to welcome our club president. Our club president works for the Nissan Motors. He has been associated with the Toastmasters Internationals for Y2K period. He also a former vice president education in the last terms. To me, I know him, the one who strongly believes in mentorship. Let us put our hands together to welcoming our club president, Toastmaster Raghunath Nayak.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mohan. You actually set the tone for the meeting today. Very, very warm good afternoon to all fellow Medlians and distinguished guests. With this imaginary gavel, let me sound the meeting number 623 open. Today, we have some very distinguished guests among us, who not guests, who the Toastmasters who will be playing the key roles. We are privileged to have them as here, like our Toastmasters region advisor, TTM Sugandhi Peryasamy, and our past director, TM Kalyan, who is taking the general evaluators and the TMOD's role. Privileged to have them, a great experience for all the new members on how we need to each of the role plays in the way Toast as a TMOD is a great learning experience, better, but that we have. One of the favorite quote from my personal experience, that is, fortune favors the prepared mind. If you set yourself for success in any area of your life, luck is more like you follow. And when you find the success, you're always told like, is it that's pretty lucky. You're lucky. That kind of a statement is something which, when I would say that it is those who are prepared enough to take that opportunity in life helps you favors the luck favors them. And that's something which personally helped me a lot in my life, like the experience of being a writer, a journalist, a part-time journalist, and being a Toastmaster. It all happened like where I've got that opportunity and been able to associate with such a wonderful organization like Toastmasters. It actually helped me a lot. Like it helped me watch others grow and develop through a very comprehensive education program like a 2 hours meeting, and it helps you like the instant thoughts, the way you can think pretty easy and like prepare with the prepared speeches and also impromptu things. So a great variety that you bring in and helps you develop your personality as such. And it is not just the opportunity which you get; it is the people whom you are associated with helps a lot in making what you are, and especially your thought process, the way you are able to react when you are in the career, also helps a lot being associated with these like-minded people in Toastmasters. And today, before we get into the meeting, let me introduce the key um, the guests who are here. Can so guest who are here, can you please unmute and introduce yourself? How you came to know about? I'm not able to get the names. Can help yourself unmute and introduce yourself to the members. Okay, now we'll have them introduced again in the later part of the meeting. Now let's put our hands together to one of the passionate Toastmasters that I have seen in Medley and also in this region. Let's put our hands together and welcome Toastmaster.
Good afternoon, Medley. Good afternoon, fellow Medlians and guests. What happens when your presiding officer steals all your script? You are dazzled. You don't know what to do. That's what happened to me because whatever I had in mind, Raghu spoke. But why this particular topic? Because what happens sometimes people say, right, you do when somebody speaks something which you don't understand, they spoke something in Greek and Latin, I don't even understand. This I always heard about it. So I thought, why don't I take something which is pure in Latin itself and then puzzle few people, and then really are they going to understand? Because anything I say, people say if they understand, then I thought I'll put something in Latin. So whether they understood. How many of you saw the agenda and how many of you know the theme? Can I just show a thumbs up? Agenda and the theme alone. How many of you saw the agenda? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How more? Everybody in video is raising their hands. So I'm just assuming others not in video. You guys hide behind it. Okay. The agenda is sent to you just for you to go through the agenda. Come with a prepared mind, and poster comes in the meeting. Today's agenda is, the theme of today's meeting is Fortis Fortuna Advait. I do not know Latin, so I don't know how to say that even. But in very simple English, it says, fortune favors the brave. I've been seeing this as fortune favors the brave for a very long time. This has been a tagline for so many movements in this world. Just after this meeting, go run it, go through this particular tagline. There are both of this particular statement, fortune favors the brave. Sri Lankan Navy has this, and so many other companies, so many people have these particular thing as their tagline. Coming back to what is really this fortune, they say the let luck be with you. He's so lucky. Are you guys telling me? I'm going to tell you, hey, look, luck is what is all about. Life is all about. To me, I come from a very different school of thought. To me, there is nothing which is called as luck. That's why I'm just getting into this. Fortune favors the brave. What is this fortune favors the brave? To me, I am just replacing this fortune favors the brave with few words. What is this fortune favoring with what I'll replace with? I will just say fortune favors somebody who has got awareness. Fortune favors somebody who works hard. Fortune favors somebody who has got a plan in life. Fortune favors who got somebody energy bound. In Tamil, there is a beautiful Tirukural. People who know Tamil can understand this. It says, Deivathal agadirinum muyarchidam meivarutha kulitharam. What it means is, even God says it cannot happen. If you put in your effort, automatically you will get the results. So my favorite statement is this. fortune favors the brave. Any time in life, somebody says, let luck be with you. I have always laughed to myself and then say, because there is nothing which is called as luck. You need to do your work automatically. Things come in. So here, I just really wanted to understand whether whatever I'm just saying, whether I said to have your fortune, to get your fortune, you need awareness. To get your fortune, you need to have a plan. To get your fortune, you need to be focused. You need energy. I thought, let me think about few role players today, whether they have really done that in life is what I wanted to know. I just wanted to take a focus and a plan as the word. Before getting into that, let me tell you for the benefit of the guests, I'll tell you every Toastmaster meeting will be having 3 formats. One is going to be a prepared speech. Another thing is going to be a table topic session. Another thing is an evaluation. This is a usual Toastmaster format. But sometimes we'll also have an education session. So that is what normally happens in a Toastmaster meeting. For the benefit of guests, I don't see guests tagged in here. I'm not sure whether we have guests. But this is what the format is: prepared speech, table topics, and then an evaluation. Now, let me come back to where I left: focus and plan. I said fortune favors who have got focus and plan. I have seen this in Toastmasters. I just wanted to pick up examples today, how fortunate people were, how brave people were, how people acted on it. When I was an area director, the district, there was my fellow area director is also there. He will completely understand and then understand this with me. We need, well, at the time of May, what happens with fellow Toastmasters, what happens in Toastmasters? The Toastmasters year starts in July and ends in June. At the end of June, we are lag of some, I don't know the exact number, to my knowledge, some 800,000 payments is what pending. I said, if you get 1,000 payments, it's not for a thing. For you to become expertly distinguished, to get 1,000 members is no joke in 1.5 months. But I said, right, that then district director wanted that particular fortune as a Smedley distinguished district, and focus and plan got her that particular Smedley distinguished title. That district director is none other than our own Shuganti Periyasamy. She is going to be the general evaluator of today. Let us hear from Shuganti what she has got to do for this meeting today.
Thank you, brave man, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Kalyan. Good afternoon, fellow Medlians and guests. I'll be serving as your general evaluator today, and I will be ably assisted by my tag team. For the benefit of our guests and newer members, tag represents timer, our counter, and grammarian. The timer for today is Toastmaster Lakshmi, who is a resident of Thiruvanmiyur, Chennai, and she says, "It is just not fortune that favors us, but it is once fortune favors us, it is our willingness to act on that good fortune that will help us to become successful." May I now invite our timer, Toastmaster Lakshmi, to please spell out her responsibilities.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. Suganti, ma'am, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. As a timer, I'll time the speaker's formal speeches, table topics, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using green, yellow, and red screens, which denotes specific time remaining. For the prepared speeches, for the first prepared speaker, today they have allocated 4 to 6 minutes. I will display my screen at 4 minutes, yellow screen, 5 minutes, red screen, and I'm really sorry, 4 minutes, green screen, yellow screen at 5 minutes, and red screen at 6 minutes. 30 seconds grace on either side. Again, for other 2 speakers, for the second and third speaker, 5 to 7 minutes is allotted. I will display my green screen at 5 minutes, yellow screen at 6 minutes, and red screen at 7 minutes. Again, 30 seconds grace on either side. For the table topics, 1 to 2 minutes for table topics, green at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. 30 seconds grace on upper side. Evaluations, 2 to 3 minutes for evaluations, green at 2 minutes, yellow screen at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and red screen at 3 minutes. Again, 30 seconds grace on either side. Thank you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Taima. Would you also be kind enough to show us your screen so that our speakers and role players also understand how the timing signals will be displayed?
Yes, yes, ma'am, will do.
All right, while Lakshmi ma'am gets ready with her equipments, the timing device, which is her laptop screen, may I now invite our counter, Toastmaster Karthikeyan, who is an ardent runner. He jogs every day for 4 to 5 kilometers, and he's quite passionate about becoming a public speaker. Toastmaster Karthikeyan, may I now request you to please spell out your objectives as the R counter.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmaster and the guest. And the purpose of our counter is note where that is a sound that you are used to catch the pause filter by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen to overuse the word including and, we, but, so, and, you know. I will also listen to the filter of sound including under, e. I will also note that when the speaker repeated word or base such as I, o, the means at the repeated words, I will note that. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, General Evaluator. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karthikeyan. If our timer, Madam Lakshmi, is ready, may I now request her to please display the timing limits.
Yes, this is green screen for and yellow screen and red screen. These are the three screens will be displayed. So at the specified timing which I mentioned.
Awesome, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on to the third member of our tag team, the grammarian. This Toastmaster, as I know him, is a very passionate Toastmaster and a very passionate, committed member of our club. He is a HR professional, and he says that fortune definitely favors the brave, and at times, if that particular task that we have on hand, even if we are not successful, if we are brave enough to attempt it, at least when we fail, we will feel good that we have tried our best to attempt it rather than just sitting quietly without taking the leap. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our grammarian for today, Toastmaster Surya.
Thank you for your introduction, G. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm Toastmaster Surya, will be the grammarian for today's meeting. For the benefit of guests, the grammarian role is all about making note of good usages of word and not so good usages of the word throughout this meeting. And I'll be preparing a report on this, and I will be providing this report at the end of the meeting. So that's my primary responsibility. And secondly, it's my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. Word of the day for today that I've chosen is euphoria. Euphoria, euphoria, as you could able to see my screen. Don't panic, it's not a disease basically. So euphoria, the meaning of this word is a feeling or state of intense excitement and happiness. And it could also be used as euphoric, euphoria, while used in sentences. And few examples: exercise, dance, listening to music can induce the state of euphoria. That's one example. The other example could be, I felt euphoric after receiving a good response and feedback on my speech. So these are all some best usages of this particular word of the day for today. And this is a word that I came across a few days back. So I thought I would use this word as word of the day. And I as a grammarian encourage all the speakers to use this word of the day, and others, the spectators, when you listen to the person using word of the day, I urge you to use applaud by using the reaction clap smiley. Thanks, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Grammarian Surya. May I also request you to please mention the word of the day in the chat window so that it serves as a reminder to all of us to make use of the word of the day. With a theme that is called Fortune Favors the Brave, I'm sure Toastmaster Kalyan is going to take us through an euphoric meeting. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator Shuganti. Friends and fellow Toastmasters, we will get into the serious part of the meeting. What I mean by that is the prepared speeches. For the benefit of guests, prepared speeches will come from a project speeches. For every prepared speech, there will be an evaluator. Today, the first prepared speech is going to be by Toastmaster Priya. Before me giving an introduction about Toastmaster Priyadarshini Bailur, let me call our evaluator, Toastmaster Amita, to give an introduction to Priya's project, please. Amita, Toastmaster Amita.
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Kalyan. I hope all of you can hear me, and I apologize for not being able to switch on my camera. So today, Toastmaster Priyadarshini is attempting her icebreaker speech from the pathway persuasive influence. The purpose of this speech is for the member to introduce herself to the club and also to learn the basic structure of a public speech. Timer, please note that the timing for her speech is 4 to 6 minutes since it's an icebreaker speech. All the best, Priyadarshini, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amita. So I've been speaking about fortune favors the brave, and then we felt fortune needs focus, fortune needs plan. Somehow I very strongly believe for you one to be fortune, one should be aware. Awareness is the only key which all of us should have. To me personally, I saw Toastmaster Priyadarshini. She came in as a guest when I was a Vice President of Education. So I very much vividly remember how she was a speaker. With her beautiful awareness, focus, plan and everything, she went on to become a area contest winner, speaker on the 2017. And she went to the division level in 2018. So this fortune, if suppose on that particular day, one of her table topics, when I gave her name and she came and she spoke for some 50-55 seconds, on that particular day, Priya decided, okay, this Toastmaster and public speaking is not lucky to me. She wouldn't have finished as a winner. Today, we know the much more sought after speaker one of the sought after speaker at Medi Toastmasters is Priya. So her speech today has been what is about her speech, her evaluator told, and something special, Toastmaster Priyadarshini Bailur. Toastmaster Priyadarshini Bailur, something special.
Thank you. It was one casual afternoon. I was surfing the TV. I came across this program which had a set of ladies discussing on a social issue. I still remember there was an old lady. There was something special about her because I felt drawn towards her. It was her talk of empathy or feelingness, I don't know. But I remember this very vividly. She said, after having 3 kids, I did my 12th, graduation and master's. If I can do it, so can you. Good afternoon to all my fellow Toastmasters and guests. There was one phase in my life, I felt life was really boring because I wanted to work and study. But my priority was only my child then. But how long can you suppress the spring? You remember that special lady I mentioned? I felt that lady opened this spring box and it bounced very high. Exactly, I felt the same. The very next day, I went to the university looking for a college which was ready to enroll a new MBA student. I went to few centers, I saw they were closed, few turned out to be fraud, and then finally I found one of my college. And I came to know that was the last day for the admission. I ran to the ATM, drew the money and paid my first installment. That was only a trailer. I saw the actual movie when I had to go to the examination hall and write my exams. I'd kept one secret from the entire world. I'd not told anyone about my study or my exams because I was so sure I would fail in my first semester. I wrote the exam. Then I made a deal to myself. If I fail, I quit. My results were out and it said just pass. I was confused if I have to cry or celebrate. But I decided to move forward and enrolled in few tuition classes. I completed my second sem, third sem, fourth. Then, between all these examinations, there came one new challenge. It was my health. One day I rushed to the hospital thinking it was appendicitis, but doctor said, no, it is just stress, unnecessary stress. I disagreed with my doctor, saying, how would you know how tough it is to manage two jobs, be a student and a mother? After 2.5 years of roller coaster ride, I completed my MBA. I went to my hometown for a break. Very soon, my results were out. And my kind officer said, I'm not going to reveal anything over phone. After 2 weeks, I came back to Chennai and I go back to find my mark sheet. What? I didn't say that. My child said, looking at my marks, what? I get A plus and you get first? Oh, come on, that will be too much of exaggeration if I say I got first rank. No, nothing of that sort. It only read first class. Even if it was just pass, I would have still celebrated. Friends, it's never too late to be what you might have been. This is my favorite quote. You know, I still love watching televisions which have these discussions and all, because you never know. One day you may be inside the television inspiring someone to complete their education or pick up their dream job. I am happy to say that I found one such special person who influenced me to do something good to myself. And I hope that you all find one such special person who will push you from your comfort zone. Did you find one, T.A. Modi?
Definitely, Toastmaster Priya. There are lots. I have a list of people we have, and let what your wish come true of you becoming an inspiration. You are one already. Even today, you are in a window on inspiring people. Then we will move on to the next speech. The next speech today is going to be by Toastmaster Venkateseshan. Before calling Toastmaster Venkateseshan, let me call his evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Thomas Abraham, to speak about the project which Toastmaster Venkateseshan is going to deliver.
Thank you very much, T.A. Modi. Good afternoon, all Medlians and future Medlians. Today, Toastmaster Venkateseshan is going to present the most liberal of all projects in Pathways. Most liberal because it can be on any topic. It can be humorous to informative, whatever one likes. True democracy. Secondly, it gives you a second chance. The only project that legally gives you a second chance, you can come back and present this with feedback that you received today. So the purpose of today's presentation is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a repeat of that. Time is 5 to 7 minutes. This is from the Motivational Strategies Level 1, Project 2, first of the 3 projects. Over to you, T.A. Modi. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Thomas. Let me speak about Venkateseshan. We've been speaking about fortune favors the brave, fortune favors people who have focus, fortune favors people who have awareness, fortune favors. I strongly believe fortune favors who grab the opportunities. When I came to Chennai, I just read one bottom line of NIIT. NIIT was a computer institute long back then. It said, don't let an opportunity pass by you. That I took it into my work. Anything I do, any opportunities which comes to me, I will take that particular opportunity which will come to me. I exactly see Toastmaster Venkateshan that way. He's a very new Toastmaster. When I see that when the club is just asking in for a, what do you call, a subcommittee member into his VPE, Venkateshan grabbed that particular opportunity. He is doing a beautiful job. Did he wait for an opportunity to knock him, or he took the fortune into his hand? What is luck and what is fortune? Venkateshan decided, let me take action. That is my fortune, and he is on that job now. Toastmaster Venkateshan, mind it, fill it. Mind it, fill it, Toastmaster Venkateshan.
Thanks, TMOD. Manasi, Manasi, Kadavai Thira. It's a small story which I read recently on Varamalar about an incident in Cho Ramaswamy's life. Everyone knows he was a renowned political critic and a journalist. He was trying to do a meditation on a fine Sunday morning. 30 seconds gone, 45 seconds gone. There was a rich aroma of coffee decoction coming from the kitchen. His wife was preparing. Oh, I need to wait for another 30 minutes to have this tasty coffee. Oh, okay, I need to do meditation now. Let me come back to meditation. Mr. continued. There was a doorbell rang. His wife passed by. She was opening the door. He was thinking, who is it? Is it a newspaper or a milkman? And it's so early in the morning. It was his neighbor to get the newspaper. He was thinking, oh, I have not read the newspaper yet. She shouldn't give the newspaper to him. I need to read it after the meditation. She said, he is doing meditation. You can take it for 30 minutes or 1 hour. Oh my God. She always does everything opposite to what I think. Okay. I need to get back to my meditation. Let me go back to meditation. He continued meditation and he fell asleep. So this was a comedy. There is a deep message on distractions in our daily work or our personal life. Don't we need to luxuriate our life with fond memories than getting into these distractions? One such tool which helps us in this is mindfulness. Mindfulness, as the definition goes, is being aware of what is happening at the moment without any judgment or assumptions. Without any judgment or assumptions. How easy it is, right? Yes. Practicing it, I would say it is easy too. Let's see how it is. Every day, our mind processes more than 1,00,000 thoughts in a given day. Many are stimulated by external sources and we don't have any control on them. Let's take a scenario. I delivered a project deliverable to the customer yesterday. Today I go to the office and my boss scolds me for poor quality deliverable. There are 3 ways I could have reacted. Either blame him, fight with him, or cry. Or gossip about his weakness with my team members. Or I could take it as a stress on myself, thinking that I am useless and of fear that I could have been removed from the organization or from the team. Instead, mindfulness helps me to understand the current situation and respond to it later. A response is an aftermath of understanding the situation. Without bias, if you don't understand it, then our responses will be inappropriate. Here where the mindfulness helps us to understand the situation without bias. Okay, how it is different from meditation? Meditation is a time-bound practice. You sit for 30 minutes practicing something, but mindfulness, though it starts as a time-bound, it becomes a habit by which every thought of your day, you could mindfully act on it, think about it and act on it. Meditation, you focus your concentration on one thought. You cannot push your mind, which is capable of doing 1,00,000 thoughts a day, to think about one thing for 30 minutes. Whereas mindfulness makes you to focus on the thoughts, look at the thoughts as it is and try to refine them as you want and respond to them as you want to. Okay, now how mindfulness is relevant and helpful to us in current situation. Our fellow Toastmaster Amita gave a speech few weeks back on emotional intelligence. Mindfulness practice is the starting step for emotional intelligence. Continuous practice of mindfulness gives self-awareness and a relationship with self and a social awareness and social relationship. It is an essential tool to evolve oneself, and a guided mindfulness has proven to give better results in improving our EQ. It also helps us to find our inspiration, gather courage and confidence, and eventually inspire others and influence our society. Okay, saying all this, is there a scientific proof behind this? This is what everyone is interested in, is it? Yes. If you remember, our fellow Toastmaster, T. Raghunath, he spoke about neural science behind mindfulness a few weeks back. Our brain has two parts of it. This is the size of our brain. The front side is the prefrontal cortex, and the back side is amygdala. The amygdala has a pre-programmed functions where it performs involuntary actions like reacting to fight or fear, like in our case, when a boss scolds us, how we react to it. On the other way, prefrontal cortex is the logical part of our brain which responds to the situations logically. Continuous mindfulness practice rewires our brain to stimulate the prefrontal cortex so that it took logical and creative analysis and respond rather than react to the situation. So mindfulness helps our brain to create new neural paths and help us to create new habits, breaking the old habits. Fortis, Fortuna, Aduvate. So be brave, my friends. Start practicing mindfulness for successful, meaningful, and mindful life. And fill it with cherishing moments and stay in euphoric state. Till we meet in next speech on mindfulness practice, fellow Toastmasters, stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Venkateshan. Using complete thing of the full meeting is being taken care. Let's wait for the respective role players to come and mention about that. I sincerely apologize for not mentioning this in the very beginning. We have one particular dropout in today's speech after the agenda, so we have not brought that in. And the next, if you have seen the agenda, there are 3 speeches, and I think only 5 to 6 people saw the agenda because only those people raised their hands. So for others, it will not be a surprise. For people who have just seen the agenda, it's going to be a surprise. We have one dropout, so we will not be having one speaker today. But what happens? Did the Vice President Education said, okay, I'm not fortunate enough. Whatever speeches I put in, people are dropping out or nothing like that, or he reached for help? What I mean by that is, I always feel fortune. If you want to be fortunate, you need to ready to take help. Ready to take help is knocking doors and asking what is properly can be asked. That's what we did just 1 hour before. When there was a gap in the agenda, already there was a gap in the agenda. We felt, okay, the agenda has gone in. Again, sending an agenda again is going to confuse the more thing. So what we did, we just knocked few doors. And in that connection, we have one particular surprise session in between the meeting. That is, we are going to have a very small, I will not call that as an education session because the timing involved is very small. But you should know the credentials of this particular speaker we are going to have today. He's an associate director in CSS Corp, and he's my fellow area director. When I was an area director, and Srini was an area director along with me for Division K, and Srini is a humorous champion for Division K in 2017. What happens is, any speechcraft from Medley, Srini has always been there to give a speech about voice modulation and everything. It has always been good to have Srini and friends like Srini, so it's easier. You are always fortunate enough. You need not have to think about hard work or anything. And now Srini will be giving a speech about his forte, whatever. He will just introduce what he's going to speak about. A timer, I will also send you a message on this. Please note, Srini's session is going to be for 15 minutes. You can just show a green in 10 and then at 12 and then 15. Timer, please note the timing for this next speaker. Over to Toastmaster Srinivasan.
Thank you so much, Kalyan. I think it's been close to 2 years since I attended a Toastmaster meeting. So this is my first meeting in like 2 years. So it's nice to see everybody back. So there's one thing that we all have in common. And that's my first question to all of you. Do you guys know what we all have in common? Like me and you? Anybody? Something that we all have in common.
Budget planning, paying the loans.
Okay, you guys are thinking way over the top. What I was thinking is the only thing you all have in common is you guys have no idea what I'm going to speak. Neither do I. With that in mind, let's jump into what I've slightly prepared for the day. I know that has become a part of a lot of us in terms of how we develop our skills. So I have only 15 minutes of time. It's going to take a lot more for me to get into details. I'm going to try and see how I can construct this as quickly as possible so that you guys can understand and take away few critical points. We can probably do follow-up sessions on this if the Medley team wants on specific modules. So what I wanted to touch base today is something that a lot of people struggle with in terms of communication, and something which is a very, very important part of communicating with others, which is vocal variety. Now, when I say vocal variety, I'm sure most of you will get back to your books in Toastmasters and look at the definition, look at what is involved there. But I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to talk about certain elements alone about vocal variety, and I'm going to give you certain tips on how to enhance these elements alone. Okay? So to jump in a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about volume, tone, pitch, the regular things that you guys all talk about. And there are a few additional elements that you'll not find in your Toastmasters books. Okay, so what is tone? This is a term that you would have heard a lot from your mentors or your coach, or if you want to really improve your communication, a lot of people will tell you, hey, you need to watch out on your tone. The problem is we do not know how to do it. It's very easy to say, go watch your tone, but it's very difficult to go ahead and change that. Some people are naturally blessed. I've never really worked on my tone because I've somehow naturally acquired that, but some people have to put in that effort. So I'm going to teach you today a few tips and techniques on how to improve your tone to become a very powerful speaker. So what is tone? Tone is nothing but the quality or the feeling that you're expressing in your words. For example, you see the picture of Superman there. So Superman has another quality as well. You have Clark and you have Superman. So in the same way, your tone of voice actually plays such a big factor that when you're speaking, only few percentage of your speech is actually the words you use. Today, most of us, when we prepare speeches, the focus is always on the words. We write down our speeches and we practice. The problem is there are two major elements that we completely miss. One is your tone, and two is your body language. And these two elements are so important in your speech that you need to practice well on these two elements. Regardless of how good your speech is, it's going to fall flat. So I'm again requesting all Toastmasters to start focusing on the other two big elements, because your words are just the tip of the iceberg. And remember, the iceberg is only 10% above water. And the majority of your speech, the focus should be on your body language and in your tone of voice. So we will talk a little bit about tone today. We'll talk a little bit about pitch and how it impacts your tone. So when I say pitch, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Anybody? I don't know how you guys do it here. Do you guys raise your hands, or anybody
You're
wants
always telling yourself.
Okay, so anybody
You're always telling yourself.
I'm sorry?
You're always telling yourself every time, every moment. That's a pitch.
Okay. So when I heard the word pitch for the first time, the thing that probably got into my head was Sarigama Padanisa. So it's probably because I'm from Chennai, or I don't know why. But when we look at pitch, we always think of music, or we think of playing the guitar and pitch, things like that. But it's also important to understand that pitch also plays a factor in how you speak. A lot of you would be surprised that while you speak, you use your voice modulation to convey different emotions. And there are few emotions that have to use a high pitch, and there are few emotions that use a very low pitch. For example, whenever you're expressing, anger or euphoria or happiness, you gently use a very high register of your voice. So, for example, when you're happy, you don't sound, India won the World Cup, I'm very happy. Do we sound that? No. When CSK wins, forget CSK. I'm not going to get in because there are multiple people. When India wins the World Cup, we all jump in and say, "Hey, India won the World Cup." That's what I did when India won the World Cup. The same time when you look back and you see your fellow area director calling you and telling you have to give out a speech today, then you say, "Kalyan, I have to give a speech. I don't know what I'm going to say." Your pitch automatically changes because of the message that you're trying to convey. Anytime you're talking about sadness, imagine you go to a funeral. Imagine, all of you must have gone to a funeral at some point of time. Imagine you go to a funeral, it's your best friend's dad or mom, somebody has passed away. You go there and you have to say you're sorry. You have to share your condolences. How do you do it? You don't say, "Hey, macha, hide up. I heard your dad passed away." You don't do that. You don't use a very high register of your voice. Use a very low register of your voice. You say, "I'm very sorry that your dad passed away. I know things can be difficult, but I'm sure we can bounce back." We use a very low register of your voice to convey emotions such as empathy, loneliness, sadness, things like that. At the same time, anger, euphoria, and happiness are used in a very high register of voice. There's one more element which is very critical, especially if you're going to give out speeches to an audience, which is the need to amplify and exaggerate. When I say amplify and exaggerate, I'm not talking about dancing on the stage. Neither am I talking about, making a buffoon. No, what I'm talking about again is using your voice to convey your message effectively. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. For example, if you were to say, my favorite restaurant is, let's say, Saravana Bhavan. Okay, for example, I know that probably not in your list, but I'm just saying, let's say my favorite restaurant is Saravana Bhavan, and I love their masala dosa. Most of us, when we say it, we say, my favorite restaurant is Saravana Bhavan because I love masala dosa. There's no impact there. There's no emotion there. There's no amplification there. Now, imagine if you were to say the same sentence, "Hey, my favorite restaurant is Saravana Bhavan because I just love the masala dosa." Now, what are the two words that I amplified in the sentence? The two words.
Just love.
Saravana Baba and masala dosa.
Just
I
love.
actually amplified on the word love. I love Saravana Bhavan. And I said I love, masala dosa or something. So the words that I amplified were actually talking about the emotion that I had. I didn't say I love Saravana Bhavan. I said I love it. So the exaggeration there helps your audience understand how much it's important to you, because that is what tone plays a factor in. Because in your speeches, especially when you're doing speeches not in front of an audience, we're all doing it digitally now. We're all sitting in the comfort of our homes and doing it. Especially when you're doing something like that, there's no people connect. So you have to focus even more on your tone of voice. Look at the sentence that I used there. You have to focus even more on your tone of voice. So the word "even more" was stressed because that is what I wanted to exaggerate and amplify while I was speaking. In the same way, any emotion that you want to convey, I've given a few examples here, which I want you guys to go ahead and practice. If you want to build this skill, the way you can practice is use words that convey emotions. That's your first step. Use words that convey emotions. Go ahead and practice those sentences by exaggerating. To give you a short little examples, don't forget your punctuations. For example, the sentence that I've listed there, "I love public speaking," has 3 sentences which have 3 different emotional states. The first one has an exclamation mark. The second one has a question mark. And the third one doesn't have anything or probably has a full stop. But all 3 are different emotions that you're conveying. When you say, "I love public speaking," you're excited. You're showing how much you're passionate about something. At the same time, when you say, I love public speaking," the emotion that you're trying to display there is you're not sure. You're confused. You're not absolutely sure if you like it or not. And the last one, it's just a statement. "I love public speaking" is just a statement. You're not conveying any emotion there. Same sentence, 3 different emotions conveyed purely with your tone of voice. Because you can't really show your script in front of an audience, only show that with your tone. Practice these elements on a daily basis until it becomes a habit. Because when I learned, the first time when I learned how to cycle, I fell down multiple times. I'm sure you guys did as well. And I was scared to ride a bicycle because Every time my dad was running behind me, holding, his hand with the bicycle, every time he leaves me, the first few times I fell down multiple times. I hurt myself. But after, a couple of times, maybe a few more days later, I started getting comfortable riding a motorcycle or a bicycle. And today it's become muscle memory for me, to the point where, I don't really need anybody to help me. It's become a part of my life. So that is what I want you guys to go ahead and practice till it becomes a part of your own, cycle. If you can remove the green screen, I think that will also be great. Oh, thank you. Okay, so just a minute. So we're talking about, tone. I also have a few things that I wanted to add in terms of, volume. So initially we spoke about tone. Volume also plays a big factor, when it comes to your speeches. The biggest mistakes in terms of volume, while it's easy to correct, is sometimes we either speak too softly where the audience is not able to hear you very well and they keep on listening, or they up the volume, or we speak so loud that it becomes too irritating. So what we do is we speak at a volume which is comfortable for the end user to understand us, but don't ever drop off your words at the end of a sentence. A lot of people in speeches especially will start speaking about something, and towards the end of the sentence, you completely forget. So what happens is, instead of completing your sentences, all you do is you go. So be very careful about dropping off sentence words at the end of your sentence, because that is the most important part sometimes. People are waiting to listen what you're telling. And suddenly, because you drop it off, people are scrambling as to what happened, what is he saying? And you're actually disrupting the communication channel. Remember, when people are listening to you, it's like watching TV. They have a video running on the head. And all these disruptions cause the black screen to come in their head. And you don't want that to happen. If you want the video to be smooth, you need to take all these things. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about language. I think the grammarian would probably like this a lot more. So in terms of language, there are two types of words that you guys need to be familiar with. Okay, I got the yellow message. Great. Okay, so two types of words that all of you need to be familiar with. One is called content words and one is called structure words. So what are these two types of words? Content words are words that are generally important. If you look at English as a language, you have nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives. These are the most important words in a sentence. Okay, and your functional words are generally your a, and, your articles, your auxiliaries, your qualifiers. To put it in simple words, your chota mota words, the small words, which really don't convey a lot of meaning, keep them as your functional words. More often than the other, when we speak, as a first step, stress on the content words and don't stress on the function words. This is just for the basic beginners. Again, this is not a golden rule. Remember, there are exceptions, but for the basic beginner, start stressing on the content words and start, leaving out your structure words. And I know that I don't have time, but I want you guys to practice this when you get back, home. Take out any nursery rhyme that you have from kindergarten. If you have kids, then it's very easy. For example, I practiced Jack and Jill went up the hill with my class. And if you guys remember, this is how it goes. We said Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Repeat that nursery rhyme and see which words you are stressing when you're speaking that. You will automatically stress on the nouns, verbs, the actions that are happening there. If you can do that in kindergarten, why not everywhere else? So start off with something as simple as that. Okay. Okay. Another thing about English, again, like I said, these are all basic rules. There are always exceptions to this. So don't just treat this alone as a golden rule. There's one more thing in English which makes it so difficult, is that different word stress means different things. I have one sentence listed here which have totally different meanings if you stress on different words. I'm going to show you how it works. For example, the sentence, if you stress on the word I, when you say, I was born in Australia, I was born in Australia, you're talking about yourself in that speech. You're talking about yourself in that sentence. Whereas if you say, I was born in Australia, you're actually talking about Australia there. If you're talking about, I was born in Australia, you're talking about, what happened to you? How did you get to Australia? or every single sentence that every single word that you stress on can actually change the meaning of the entire sentence. So be very careful about which words you stress on as well. Sometimes it can change the entire meaning of a sentence. So while you're preparing a speech, look at how many things that we have to start looking at, which maybe we've not looked at so far. So this is something that I want you guys to focus on as well. Okay, this is something for, this is especially for the leadership team, in case you guys are going to include people, if you're going to ask questions to the audience. A lot of your speeches might have questions that you ask to the audience, or if you're a Toastmaster of the day, or if you're a role player that you want to engage the audience, then you go ahead and use this particular technique, which is called the 3Ps technique. So the 3Ps technique is nothing but pose, pause, and person. When you're asking a question to the audience, don't ask a question and pick a person. Sometimes it can be very offensive if somebody is not very well prepared, but rather pose a question and pause. What happens here is you allow the question to sink in with your audience, and then you have people ready to answer that. And when you have people ready to answer that, pick the person so that they can go ahead and answer it. This is very useful if you're either presenting something to an audience, or even at work, if you're going to present something to your client and you want to ask questions. Use this technique. It's very, very useful. Rather than directly pinpointing somebody stating, Kalyan, what is Toastmaster of the day? Or Kalyan, what is TP? Don't do that. Use the 3Ps technique, which is pose your question, pause for a few seconds, then pick a person. Okay. I think I have a couple of more minutes. So quickly about body language, I'm going to give you a couple of tips. So there are two major problems that a lot of people have in terms of body language. This is both in the virtual world and in the real and in the digital world. In terms of the two major problems, one is called the elephant sway, and two is called the lion walk or the tiger walk. What is the elephant sway? If you notice, some speakers, when they stand in front of a crowd, they stand up and they keep swaying from one side to another. They keep swaying from one side to another. The reason they sway is because they're very nervous, or they do not know what to do with their body. So they stand at one place and they keep moving from one side to another. Kind of exactly like how an elephant sways when you go to the zoo. That's not the greatest body language that you want to display. So if you have that problem, you can fix it. Second is the lion or the tiger walk. So if you go to the zoo, if you see a tiger, it will keep walking from one side of the cage to the other side. So some speakers do that as well. They get nervous, they walk from one side to the other. Ideally, the way I would do is I would keep different parts of the stage for different purposes of my speech. For example, you're talking about your childhood, your school, your college. I can split the stage into 3 different parts and use it effectively. Otherwise, don't keep jumping around between your stage. Use controlled movement to establish or connect with the audience. Okay, this is for the entire Medley team in terms of how the digital transformation has changed and what you can do to enhance yourself in the digital world. The first is, this is something that I tell all my people. Do I have 1 more minute? Just 1 more minute. I'm there at the last time. So this is something very important. Please ask your members to switch on their cameras. This is important because while we are in the virtual world, it's very easy for people to just log into a session, eat pizza, or sleep on the bed and attend meetings. But it's very discouraging for everybody else who's giving out speeches. Try and see if you can connect with the audience by switching on your camera at all times. If you're a speaker or if you're a participant by any way, please have your camera switched on. Second is, try and see if you can connect yourself to an Ethernet cable. A lot of disconnections happen in the digital world. Use features on Zoom. There are a lot of features on Zoom that I don't find Toastmasters using, or maybe you guys are using it. For example, you have breakout sessions, you have the digital hand. Try and start using these to enhance yourself on the digital platform. Use a virtual background if possible. This is very important for speakers. At the background, there's a lot of distractions that happen, especially when you're giving out a speech. And if you're a role player or a Toastmaster, have a plain background at the back or have a virtual background. The only problem with virtual backgrounds sometimes is they kind of get messy. And for example, for me, if I switch on a virtual background, you can only see half of my face. Doesn't work. It's very distracting. And the last is your framing. If you're giving out a speech, plan your frame accordingly. Every speech needs to have a different frame. You want to be closer to the audience. You want to be further away. Plan your framing accordingly. And last is, there's a lot of features on Zoom which will help you to congratulate. You don't need to actually clap your hands. Yes. So Venkat Krishnan has already shown how it's done. Start using these to acknowledge. Because we are in the digital world. This is not just for Toastmasters, but it's how you transform yourself when you go into your meetings as well, because that's what ultimately everybody wants to improve. And with that said, I'm going to close my screen. I have a video, but I don't think I have time, so I'm going to close this. If there are any questions that I can take, I'll take them now, or if time permits again. I know I've rushed through this session a lot because at only 15 minutes, this is like a 1.5 hour session that I generally do with my participants with a lot of activities, but for the sake of time, I want to complete it. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, the grammarian.
Sometimes this is about a voice tone, basically, right?
Okay.
So I get a lot of feedback from people saying that Surya is so rude while he speaks, right?
Okay.
But I'm right in front of you speaking with a smiling face, but that's not possible when I speak to them over a voice call, right?
Very good.
So is there a way, how do I tackle this?
Very good question.
I felt this, even if you close your eyes and listen to what I speak right now, you might feel my voice tone as rude. Now, sometimes I've recorded it and I've listened to it.
That's actually a very, very, very good, point that Surya made. Sometimes what happens is we think that, just because I'm speaking over the phone, I don't have my camera. People always think that I'm sweet. But remember, when you don't have your camera switched on, it becomes even more important for you to use your vocal variety because your body language is literally zero there. So your vocal variety takes up even more space. So, but this is more of a generic question. Maybe if you can work with your mentor to understand why is it that the people feel you're rude? What portion of your tone is affecting your rudeness? Because I don't know. You probably need to work with your mentor to understand which portion and start fine-tuning those elements so that you become more effective as a speaker. In terms of, is there a general rule to say, you know what, how can I become more polite? There isn't, because we need to identify problem areas and then fix them accordingly. So I don't know, you can work with your mentor or you can reach out to somebody who's a voice coach to help you to fine-tune those skills. Any other questions? There's a video that I want all of you to go back and watch. I know that I don't have time, so I'm going to give you the guys the video. If you guys have seen Nagesh in an old, I forgot the name of the movie, but he tells out a story to his dad. It's a ghost story that he talks about. I want each and every one of you to go back and watch that video and note on whatever we discussed today and connect it with that video. Then you'll understand how Nagesh, in that 3-minute clip that you see from Nagesh, 3 minutes, how he's using both his vocal variety and his body language so effectively to communicate something as simple. Go back and watch that. You'll have a lot of interesting things that you'll learn. Anything else that I can take? I'm sorry, Sampath, I missed your question.
He says movie name is Kadhalikka Nermillai.
Oh yeah, correct. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's Kadhalikka Nermillai. I have the video, but due to lack of time, I'm not playing it. Any other questions that I can take? I know it's a red, so I'm going to stop right now. But thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, Kalyan. Again, it's been close to 2 years since I joined a virtual meeting with Toastmasters. In fact, it's the first virtual meeting that I've had with Toastmasters. It gives me another, it gives me inspiration to get back into Toastmasters soon. I was out because of various reasons, and it's time that I get back as well. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Srini. That was for a short notice. We just called you within one hour time, and then I asked you to squeeze your 50-minute session to 15 minutes. Thank you very much for so many years, actually.
Fortune favors the brave, Kalyan.
Yeah, so. Thank you for both. Let's let others decide who is brave here. Let's not go and tell what is it. I've been mentioning about we want to be fortunate. You should have awareness. You should have focus. You should have. But to me, the most important thing is you should be an energy on the move. You should have that smile on your face. The next role player for today's meeting, to me, he is one fortunate person to have that being an energy on the move, and he has got that smile on face. Have you ever seen Jagan with less energy any day? To me, he is an epitome of energy. To the extent of bringing a jingle to Medley Toastmasters. The next session is going to be table topics. Before table topics, I'll just want to check with the vote counter. Are we going to take the votes now, Ranga? Are we going to take at the end of it? The best speaker vote.
Can we take it at the end of the roll?
Fine. So let me have. So we will take all the what do you call the agreed speakers and who are people who are qualifying speakers at the end of the meeting. So let's get on to the next session. That is going to be table topics. Table topics today is going to run by the most energetic fellow Medlian, Jagan.
Thank you, Kalyan. Before that, this is active listening project. Can I have the evaluator to speak out the objectives of this project? Dinakaran?
Yeah, I will do that. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests. Toastmaster Jahan is doing the Pathway Persuasive Influence Level 2 Project 2. Project name is Active Listening. As a part of this project, he will be conducting the table topic session. The purpose of the project is that the member to demonstrate his ability to listen to what others say. All the best, Toastmaster Jahan.
Thank you, Dina. So, good afternoon, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Table topics, I am the table topic master for today. Table topics helps members practice the art of improvisation. This aids us to develop. There are 4 vital communication skills: listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. The topics for today's session, I hope, will help us become better at improvisation. I will call members and some guests participate in the session. The time allotted for each speaker is 1 to 2 minutes. Those speaking less than 30 seconds and more than 2 minutes will be disqualified for the best TT speaker ribbon. I will mention the topic first and then I will call on the speaker to the screen. Please do keep in mind the community guidelines iterated by the Sergeant at Arms at the start of the meeting. Shall we start?
Sure.
Can I have a thumbs up from everyone? Thank you. First topic, what goes around comes around. I call upon Toastmaster Atishay. What goes around comes around. Over to you, Atishay.
Back in school days, I remember we were in class 11th and we had this fantastic idea that there was a kid in class who used to complain about almost everyone to the teacher. You do the smallest of things and he would run to the teacher and then complain. And then the teacher would come to you and scold you. So 5 of us, we gathered together and then we decided, let's prank this kid. So what we did was, and this was a very elaborate plan. We planned it a day in advance. And then the next day, one of us, we bought a fake lizard. So it was a lizard toy. We bought that fake lizard. And then we decided that, okay, let's use this to prank this kid. We took early morning, right before assembly, when everyone was heading out. We took that lizard, we opened up that person's tiffin box, and very evil minds that we were, we put that lizard inside his tiffin box. Then we were waiting for the first 4 periods. We were waiting that, okay, when recess happens, this person will open his tiffin box and then he'll see a lizard. And then how fun it would be to watch him get scared, and how fun it would be to see him make a fool of himself in front of everyone else. The first period went by, the second period went by, the third period was physical education. Now this was the time when the class usually gets empty, and being in that class, it was a trend that whenever the class was empty, a lot of us would score everyone's bag for tiffin boxes and then eat food that these people had brought in. So right as we were about to leave the class, we, as in the group that had planned the prank, we saw someone opening up this kid's bag. We looked at us, all of us. We thought, what is he doing? We saw that other person take out his tiffin box. We were like, oh no, this thing is about to fall flat. But then we still waited because we could not say anything. We waited and watched and waited and watched. That person opened the tiffin box, took out the foil, looked at the rotis, saw the lizard, jumped, scared, threw the food on the ground. And then all of us, we face palmed. We were like, all effort gone to waste, pranked the wrong person. It's okay. We laughed at that person and then went out. Now what happened next is what ties down to this TT topic. That lizard that went around, that person who we had mistakenly pranked, he took that same lizard, put it back into one of my friend's tiffin boxes, And in the interval, in the recess, when all of us gathered around that person, he had bought chole bhature that day. We gathered around that person and we had decided that, okay, we'll have a feast, we'll have a very good time eating chole bhature. We opened the tiffin box and we found that lizard right there inside. Karma, ladies and gentlemen. What goes around comes around, be it a bad action or a toy lizard. Thank you for the wonderful topic, TT Master. Back to you.
Thank you, Atishay. A song name could take you back years and give a story with chole bhatura with a lizard side dish. It's very good. It's very good to listen for us. You took us back years to our school years.
Voice.
Sorry. Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. May I call upon Toastmaster Sundaresan to take up on this topic?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. The strength, yes, no doubt. When it's so happy, or everything goes around happy and we smile at others and everything is so nice, the life is so pleasant also. But when something sorrow happens to us or to someone who is around us, then we need a lot of strength to face that person and that scenario. Recently, I have gone through this one, then I feel that I was stuck for nearly 6-7 hours. I couldn't do anything after hearing a sorrowful news within the family. So I was thinking, I have to recover and I had to do something, but what to do? It was a thing. So that will came. As a Toastmaster, knowingly or unknowingly, I have told 1,000,000 times, words are powerful, words are powerful, so many speeches, so many table topics. But when we face it, practically, our words are powerful. Is it the will we can manage? Is it the strength? Yes. Just I looked at the table where I'm sitting, just in front of me, I have written the good words of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. You are never given a problem that you cannot handle. I was not so happy with this one. It's something sorrow, how I cannot handle. There is no crash course for us to handle our sorrow. We can easily handle the happiness. Then I felt that the count your blessings, and the other word which I saw is move ahead in your life. So the strength I got in that scenario of sorrow is just move ahead. Immediately I got control of the situation. I decided what has to be done next for that family, my family, and for the people around me, how to take control. The will came to me with this 2 words, move ahead. And I could think with prudent mind, attend the phone calls and try to do what to be done next day, next hour first, next day, next week, and next month. These are the things I got it from 2 words, just move ahead. Certainly, will matters and words are powerful. Over to table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sundaresh. Now, one thing that I take from your speech is when you said there is no crash course for sorrow. We handle happiness easily, but there is no crash course for sorrow. And you gave us the crash course, move ahead. And I summarize this by saying this too shall pass. That's why people say this too shall pass. So the third speaker today is a third topic that we have. Irrespective of age, a man is always a child to his mother. Irrespective of age, a man is always a child to his mother. To this topic, I request Toastmaster Venkatesan to take this up. Venkat, you're on mute.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters. Thank you for a nice topic, Toastmaster Jagan. 3 years back, 16th March 2019, 9 o'clock, my elder sisters and my second sister, third younger sister, with the kids, brother-in-law, everybody was around my mom's bed. I went to the office for some urgent work, for network problem, some problem. My elder sister called me. Immediately, I applied leave and I came back. 9:30 to 9:45. The breathing was like, you know that when you dip some person inside the water without knowing swimming, the person will struggle to breathe. It's going like upward and downward. And I went to the local clinic. They said that, please put ambulance and bring your mother here, then only we'll do the treatment and all. By God's grace, fortune braves. Because of that, near my house, I took Dr. Lakshmi. She is MBBS only. She came with me and she checked and she advised us pulse is down and other thing is down. That is why BP is also down. Do not take any risk. But I cannot give you a guarantee. My mother was saying that, my dear son, don't stand next to me. My elder sister put kasi teetham in her mouth. And before that, she spoke to brothers, sisters, everyone. And she advised four of us, do not fight for anything else. On that time, she told me that, do not stand next to me, my dear son. Because of you, I cannot reach safely to the Surgam also. She was talking in Tamil. Surgam also. I said, no problem, ma. I struggled. I started crying. My elder sister started crying because the breathing is very difficult for her. On that day, my elder sisters and the younger sister told me that the way of affection she had with you because of only one son, for the past 50 years, each and everything I used to discuss with her. Whenever I used to come to late also, I will inform my mother first, then only I will inform my wife. Like that way. Then I really noticed that the way, the affection, she taught me everything. She told me that life is, you are ready to face the life with straightforward. Don't worry. Everything will pass. Pass one day. Thank you for a nice topic, Toastmaster Jagannathan.
Thank you, Venkat. It's not only from this speech, I can see how much you love from your previous table topic speeches as well. You delivered one speech with we're talking about your mother. And I hope the memories and all of the life lessons that she has given you stays with you. So the third topic that we have today, fourth topic is humans are meant to be loved and not understood. Humans are meant to be loved and not understood. For this, I request guest Zakir to take up this topic. Is Zakir available?
Yeah, I'm available. I'm available.
Zakir, should I repeat the topic?
Yeah. Humans to be loved, not to be understood.
Humans are meant to be
To be
loved,
loved,
and not
not to be-
understood. Over
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, to, friends and Toastmasters. Thank you for the excellent topic you have given. Humans are meant to be loved. I very much go with this word because we are from the different parts of life and different walks of life and different places we are from. And if I started trying to understand a person, many of the time I will be wrong. So it's always when I start loving a person, I understand more. Most of the time, so we have an euphoria that we have an idea that we can know everyone, we can understand everyone. I'm very sorry. It's not so. That euphoria is a very, very bogus one. When we start loving people, I truly believe that we can understand them much, much better. What you said is right. When we allow to love, humans are meant to be loved. When we meant to love means when we to love them with our whole heart, we understand them much, much more. Many of the time I have seen, I've been traveling across India, the languages vary, the people vary. What makes me to gel with them? So I never try to understand them. I start loving them. East Indian food I take a Kerala food, I take a Gujarati food. I take a pure non-vegetarian and pure vegetarian food and mix up everything only on snacks. So then I love. Loving people makes me to understand them and being with them in a much, much better way. So many of the time, I too had an euphoria that I know everything. It is not. We have to understand them. No, it was a totally miscalculation of my mind. I never thought that I will be able to come across that over a period. When I start working with many people of different cultures and races and race, then I learned that yes, when you start loving people makes you to understand much better than understanding them. So that's why I think most of the times when we talk about these things, I feel why I ventured into a lot of new things. Yes, fortunes favors the bold people who venture into that. When I was put into a place where I was totally don't know the language, say Telugu, Malayalam, or Hindi, so I bold enough to take up the challenges and start loving those things. Then I'm a now. I can speak a very good Telugu. I can speak Telugu, Malayalam, and also I do a lot of programs on Hindi. So now I understood when I start loving, I understand much better rather than just being a person of understanding. Then I start loving. I will not do the vice versa. So thank you, Jagan. It was a wonderful attitude. I really believe this loving people makes things much, much better. I am coming out of that euphoria of understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Zakir. You used the topic itself to answer. You said love leads to understanding and not vice versa. And you used your experiences to drive home that point. The next topic for today, I'd like to call a guest. If not now, then when? If not now, then when? Before calling the speaker, I'd like to reiterate the timelines for the speech. So the time allotted for each speaker is 1 to 2 minutes. Those speaking less than 30 seconds and more than 2 minutes 30 seconds will be disqualified for the best TT speaker ribbon. Once again, the topic, if not now, then when? I request guest Varsha to take up this topic. Guest Varsha.
I think she just dropped out, Jagan.
I see her. Guest Varsha. She's there.
Okay.
Okay, we'll come back to this topic. I will go on to the next topic. So the next topic is this. If like Rajinikanth in the movie Arunachalam, you must spend 30 crore rupees in 30 days. How would you spend it? If like Rajinikanth in the movie Arunachalam, you must spend rupees 30 crore in 30 days, how would you spend it? This topic goes to Toastmaster Dinesh.
Yeah, thank you, Jagan. A very good evening to all Toastmasters and guests. I'm sure that you would all seen Arunachalam movie, and the table topic also reflected on it. How to spend 30 lakhs in 30 days or 30 crores?
30 crores, inflation.
30 crores, okay. 30 crores in 30 days. It's quite easy. Spending money is the most easiest thing, my dad says, but earning money is the most difficult part, as everyone know. Spending 30 crores, you could just take a full world tour, maybe for 1 month, and you can spend very lavishly staying in the most costliest hotels, maybe Burj Al Arab, all the most costliest hotels worldwide. And for 30 days, you can spend money in maybe 30 countries. You could divide it, and you can spend very lavishingly. And once again I reiterate that it's very easy to spend money, but it's very difficult to earn even a single rupee. That is something which is very important. And for example, maybe a world tour which you go and you can buy something like that, and you have 30 crores after all. Why not? You can buy something, an airline itself, and go on a private tour. I don't know how much it will cost, but it will cost a lot. Because even now I read somewhere that all the billionaires in India are leaving India due to the COVID situation and staying out somewhere. And some countries are still not accepting even that scenario. Maybe we are in a tough situation because of the COVID, but still going around the world and spending a lot of money and eating in all the best restaurants, the most costliest restaurants. I am a hardcore eater after all. I eat non-vegetarian like no one says. Even my cousins say that they have never seen someone who eats so much like me. Even I feel a little bit shy saying so. But still, finding and eating the best restaurants around the world in a private jet, would be my way of spending 30 crores in 30 days. Thank you, and over to you, Jagan.
Thank you, Dinesh. And that's truly an entrepreneur speaking. No? It is easy to spend the money, but difficult to earn. Thank you, Dinesh. The next topic is love makes life worthwhile. Love makes life worthwhile. May I request DTM Sampath to take up this topic? DTM Sampath?
Am I audible?
Yes, DTM Sampath. Shall I repeat the topic?
Yeah, once please.
Love makes life worthwhile. Over to you.
Same topic, master, fellow Toastmasters, and the few guests who are there still. We can all do a profit and loss account or a balance sheet of our life. At any time in life, till that time in life, whatever happens, you will start finding after some time all material things start losing their sense. From the early times till whichever date it is, one thing that really matters is the feeling towards each other. Whether we like it or not, human beings live in the mind. They do not live in the material world. They do not live in an apartment, luxurious flat or car and other things. They are all there. They are all very nice to have. But the real life happens inside the mind. That is why a very rich person with all luxuries can still be unhappy. A poor person with nothing at all and no guarantee of the next meal can still be happy also. That means the feeling is the most important thing. And again, human beings feel to belong to something. The sense of belonging is very important. This is what connects one human being to another. You may call it in different words. Love is the most common symbol that is used to refer to this concept of human beings trying to bond with each other. Because all other materialistic bonds and transactions will not be so important. Ultimately, what matters in the balance sheet is the human bondage, which we call love. Back to the table topic, master.
Thank you, DTM Sampath. You emphasized on the belonging that we all feel, that we all need in life. Now, the next two, we have 5 minutes left. I want to stuff two topics in here. So these are picture-based topics. One moment, I'll just share my screen. So I hope my screen is visible. So this is the picture. I request Toastmaster Raghunath Mishra to explain what his thoughts are on this picture. Toastmaster Raghunath Mishra.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jagan. Yeah, so I just can relate myself to this scenery, the scenery that you have shown, where when I was at my hometown, I was carrying my niece before marriage, when my niece was with me and roaming around the countryside, and it's beautiful. It reminds me of the freshness of the air, the freshness in the air, and the thoughtfulness about a world where you just feel like sharing something, just the love to the nature, love to the society, to the environment, to everything that we see. There is nothing called greediness that I could ever realize in those days. Till I move out of that place and started thinking of earning, started thinking of establishing myself, then started thinking of having all those things which used to be for free to it used to be free of cost. Now I am trying to have those things in an artificial world, trying to spend money buying those things. So that is what I could able to relate myself to by seeing that screen where I was holding my knees and roaming around the countryside. Yeah. Thank you, Jagan.
Thank you, Raghu. I'm sure with your description, Gurpur in Odisha does sound like that. I can see the scenery that you mentioned. So the
Thank you. You're again mute.
Jagan, you're on mute.
Yes, thank you. The final topic that we have for today is just a moment. Yes. So this is the final topic of the day, and everybody would know that this comes from a movie called Gentleman. So assuming that you are Mr. Kaundamani and Mr. Sendil tells you less tension, more work, less tension, what would your reaction be? This topic goes to our Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Mohana Sundaram. May I request our Sergeant at Arms Mohana Sundaram to speak on this? What would your reaction be if someone had told you less tension, more work, less tension?
Thank you, Jagan. Let me take 30 seconds now.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Less tension, more work, less tension. The angry is a common to everyone. Nowadays, the people are easily get it. So whenever we do anything and the things wouldn't get it, things didn't come in their ways, the people get easily angry. So at that point, and the angry is, I don't think the angry is a big problem for anyone. And so all people have to do is and keep calm and doing the things in your ways, and so it will come and automatically over to table topic master.
Thank you, Mohan. Thank you all of you for participating. I was trying to squeeze as many people as possible. I know Kalyan is having a sigh right now. Over to Kalyan.
Thank you, Jagan, for that, because we are just already running late by 10 minutes. So I was just thinking what is happening, because of course your time allotted to you, we just stole something for the education session. Apologies for that. We will also, when the voting comes in, remember, and the table topic speakers, let's not have as a time, because of the timing device, we are not getting into the qualified speakers now. Jagan, can you just run the name of the speakers on one shot so people will remember who spoke what? It will be helpful for them to vote. Just the names of the speakers quickly.
Speaker number 1, Atishay. Speaker number 2, Sundareshan. Speaker number 3, Venkateshan. Speaker number 4, Zakir. Speaker number 5, Dinesh. Speaker number 6, Raghunath Mishra. Speaker number 7, Sampath. It may be out of order, but Sampath. And Mohan. Final speaker was Mohan.
Thank you. Thank you, Jagan. Thank you very much for that. See, I was mentioning about few things. We'll just come in at the end of the thing. I'm not getting into any of the theme based now. Let me hand over the baton to distinguished Toastmaster Suganti Periyaswamy for her to conduct the evaluation session.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kalyan. Before we move on with the evaluation of the prepared speakers, if the ballot is ready, I would now request to display the ballot so that we can vote for the best prepared speech before we move on to hear the evaluations.
It's with together with all the things that we'll have to make it separate. So I think it's prepared as one whole for everything. Maybe we will connect it later.
All right, Toastmaster Akub. In that case, may I now humbly request you to please write down the name of the best speaker whom you would like to vote, and not let the evaluations influence your vote for the best speaker, and you can probably cast your virtual vote once the ballot is available. With that said, now let me invite the evaluator of our first speech. The first speech was delivered by Toastmaster Priyadarshini from the Pathways. persuasive influence and icebreaker speech. And to evaluate that, we have our most energetic Madam Secretary, who also doubles up as our Vice President, Public Relations, whenever we are in requirement of any PR within the club or across the area and division. Let's invite Toastmaster Amita.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Congratulations, Toastmaster Priyadashini, for yet again giving an icebreaker speech and inspiring all of us. This shows your thirst to learn more and more every day. So to start with, you have very well understood the structure of a public speech. It was evident with the way you gave your introduction with a beautiful story. First of all, your topic was very well chosen. It was really positive. And coming to your introduction part, you spoke about how you started with a story, which was you were able to connect with the story really well right at the beginning. So great introduction. And coming to your body, it was more like a motivational speech for all of us to listen to your speech, where you were in a situation of somehow finishing your MBA and you did that passing in first class. So it was more like a motivation to all of us listening to your speech. And coming to the next point, you said that it's never late to be who you can really be. Again, that was something which all of us should learn from you as a person and as a speaker, because yet again you've come up taking your icebreaker in yet another pathway. So I have only one recommendation for you, is that you have clearly demonstrated that you have understood what the structure of a public speech is, but the project demands that you need to introduce yourself to the club. I understand that you've been really known to us for quite a long time, but it just felt like you were sticking to just one phase of your life, which did tell a lot about you. It could have been better if you had given a brief introduction about yourself to the entire club, because there are new faces and we all would love to hear more about it. So that's all from my side. Overall, it was a beautiful speech, and to sum it up, great introduction, great motivation speech, and overall, you, like always, you've been a great motivation, and you have been an asset to the club, and I'm sure you will be in your upcoming speeches. Thank you so much, Priyadashini, for that speech. Over to you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amita. Moving on to the next speech evaluation. The second speech today was delivered by Toastmaster Venkatesan from the Pathways Motivational Strategies. And to evaluate Venkatesan's speech, we have our very own public relations guru, our immediate past president, DTM Thomas Abraham. Sir, you're on mute.
Thank you. Again on cue. Your cues are important. Thank you, GE. My time starts now. So congratulations, Toastmaster Venkatesan, for delivering a structured, well-structured speech on a very contemporary topic. At these times of working from home fatigue, you are telling us about mindfulness. Very well selected topic. There are 5 things I liked about the speech. 1, I liked the topic selection. I liked the words mind it, fill it, reminded me of Hero Honda's old advertising and making me curious as to what this is all about. Secondly, the subject I explained to you. Third, the structure. Full marks to you for the structure. You had an introduction. I will come to that later. Meditation was your touchstone. You used meditation to talk about mindfulness. Then you had 3 points. And at the end, you started with a scientific proof, which is very important for things of the mind, which are invisible. So these are the 3. 4th thing I liked was you picked up speeches of others of today and the past, created an element of continuity and familiarity, and therefore, in a way, conviction. That's what you do when you cite examples. Lastly, you compared it with the known. The known is meditation. At least everybody thinks they know, don't they? Now, my suggestions for you are these. You started with the line in Tamil. Maybe I was the odd one who felt left out. Is something to consider. Secondly, you demonstrated distraction by picking up an example of Cho's life. well illustrated, but I was only left wondering whether we needed such a long introduction from Cho to illustrate, to demonstrate distraction, which is our common enemy every second. Third, scientific proof. You offered scientific proof, but what you did was, of course, you used good use of your fist and you explained the positioning of the two. Scientific proof could have come, very importantly, by quoting an authority on the topic. And also maybe giving your own example where something of this sort happened. You know, the benefit of mindfulness. That would have made it tangible for us. So from the theoretical, we could have brought it to the experiential, because these are esoteric topics. So esoteric topics cannot be handled only with intellectualism. We need to bring it to the emotional connective plane. These are my suggestions for you, but overall, congratulations for a relevant topic you picked up. Very good structure, logical, you gave its definition, and you recognize the need for scientific proof. Body language, only one more thought. Kindly zoom out, move a little away so that your hand gestures can be fully visible. Currently, some of it is going underneath. This is a problem all of us will fine-tune and succeed and master one day. Compliments to you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DTM Thomas Abraham. Now that we've heard the evaluations of the prepared speeches, may I also request, may I now move ahead with the tag team reports. Madam Timer, would you please let us know how we have fared in the time management segment of today's meeting?
DTM Sumanthi, I think there is one more evaluator for Jagan's project of DT.
I'm so sorry, I missed it. All right. Now let me invite Toastmaster Dinakaran to evaluate the table topics session. The project will be by Toastmaster Jagan. Toastmaster Dinakaran, as I know him, is a very soft-spoken Toastmaster and ever willing to help, and especially comes to help you when you are in dire need of help. A friend indeed is a help indeed, and that I would relate that to Toastmaster Dinakaran. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now invite Toastmaster Dinakaran to the virtual stage.
Thank you, GE. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Toastmaster Jagan has given this session of table topics as a part of his pathway persuasive influence project active listening. Coming to the session, it was conducted. The session, it was one of the wonderful sessions of the table topics, which didn't have any technical difficulties. Sometimes we get into the situations where like some of the speakers are not able to deliver the speeches for some technical reasons, or the table topics also uses slides where it would be some problems that we would not be able to see the slides. But we didn't have any technical difficulties in the session, and the lesson was very smooth, like a stream. It was one of the nice sessions that we have had in the recent times. And also, like the way it was conducted, it was very nice. He was very clear with the topics, and then the topics were very simple, and the users were able, the Toastmasters were able to connect to the topics quickly, and then they were able to adapt to the topic because they were able to connect to their personal situations or their experience and whatever they had. And he had two modes of sessions. One is that reading out or spelling out the topics. The topics were very simple, very clear. Users were able to get the topic and understand it very well. And also he has shown another way that the pictures were shown, and then it was like kind of reflecting on the pictures, not giving any specific directions or any specific views on the topic. You look at it and then you reflect on what you see or what you feel. So that was very nice. I liked it, the way it was conducted. It is with respect to the session. Coming back to his listening, and then the master itself, tabletop master itself, like he was actively listening. Like he was nodding, given expressions, and applauding each and every speaker, and was able to come back with affirmative statements of each speaker completing the speech, and was very able. He was very able, like very quickly, and then was able to connect the speech with his thoughts, and then he's bringing his thoughts also to the speech. And also like there was a speaker who was not around during the speech, and he was actually very attentive, and he saw that the speaker coming in and then going out. So very watchful of the session. And also like at times some speakers were stepping out for water or whatever the reason, and then they were just coming in. He was very attentive to that, and then was asking that, should I repeat the topic? Are you clear on the topic? So he was very attentive, smiling, and then was able to come back with some affirmative statements for each and every speech, and also applauding all the speakers and empathetic. And overall, it was a wonderful table topic session. On the improvement side, I don't see any specific callouts. Maybe we would have had a little more topics or additional topics so that we have this session going on for a little more time. Otherwise, it was a wonderful session. Thank you. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dinakaran. All right, now let's move on to hear the timer report for the meeting. Toastmaster Lakshmi, would you please present the timer's report, please?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Is it echoing?
No, we are able to hear you.
Okay, okay, thank you. See, actually, I had some. God, 1 minute, let me. Okay. Are you able to hear me now? Sorry. Sorry again.
Very much.
Yes. I had some technical glitch due to which I'm not able to share the screen, but I was sharing my screen. I did not know that the screen is not viewing by others. I'm really sorry, but I was noted all the points and the timings team is used. For the prepared speeches, Priyadarshini used 5.19 seconds. Venkataseshan sir 6.25 minutes. Srinivasan 23.17. Okay, so and then for table topics, almost all the speakers have been are eligible. So even though my screen was not working, Ranga and Suganti ma'am have been helped me. But the evaluators, again, everyone is eligible. So all are in within the limits, that is below 3 minutes. That's my report. And I would like to share my experience on Fortune Favored Me. How you know? So the thing is, last week me and my family went for shopping. There we bought the things which are in need. After shopping, while we came out, they said there is a beautiful gift is given for the specified amount purchase. I went there with euphoric to collect the gift, but the girl said, "Sorry, ma'am, the gift is given only for the specific amount. Sorry, specific item purchase." I became upset, but I didn't stop there. I went inside the store. I met the manager. I told him the story. Immediately, he called the gift distributing girl and asked to give a gift to me. So their fortune worked for me. So and my fortune and my initiative favored me. So that's my little story to share. Thank you so much for the opportunity given. I'm really sorry on the glitch, the technical glitch. Thank you, ma'am, again.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lakshmi. We will now move on to, before we move on to hear the R counter and the grammarian reports, may I request you to please write down the name of the best evaluator that you will be choosing so that you may remember to vote for them when the virtual ballot is presented. Now moving on, let me invite our R counter, Toastmaster Karthikeyan, to present the R counter report.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, today, 2 or 3 guys is a fantastic speaking, clear speaking. First guy is Mr. Toastmaster Kalyan. He's a clear speech. And next, Toastmaster Priyadarshini, project speaker. He's a clear speech. Next one, DTM Thomas Ibrahim is a evaluation speech number speaker 2, clear speech. I will repeat one by one. Toastmaster Morgan Sundaram, Sergeant at Arms, he is using the R counter 2, pass 1 and 1. And Raghunath Nair, Toastmaster Raghunath Nair, pass 1. Toastmaster Kalyan, pass 1 and repeat 1. DTM Sugandhi Periyasamy, R1 and but 1. And next, Priyadashini is a clear speech, and Venkateshan, yeah, Toastmaster Venkateshan project speaker 2 is using M2, past 2, is here speaking, that is called the office project speaking meditation. So that you have to use repeatedly, that is repeated word. And like guest Srinivasan is DTM's Guru Prasad also drop out. So guest Srinivasan also using the so many times, but and the right so many things is using. And the next one TM Sundaresan session speech evaluator using that R2 repeat 1. And the next one DTM Sambat Saudra knows. Next one Lakshmi timer is speaking 2 times is repeat 1 and R1 past 2. Next one evaluators next TT speaker TM Aditya Jain is speaking very nice. That is R only 1. Next one Sundaresan speaking R1 repeat 1 and but 1. Everything is used 1 by 1. And guest Jagir Hussain using the R counter 1 R1 and past 2 repeat 1. And Raghunath Mishri is using the R1 and repeat 1 second. And Toastmaster Mohan is shortly quit the speaking, is R3 count. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karthikeyan, for the detailed report. Now let's move on to hear the grammarian's report. I hope we have given him the opportunity to be euphoric while preparing his report.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Let's get into the word of the day and theme of the day usage for today's meeting. It was fair enough that many people had used it. Firstly, swiftly, it was used by our General Evaluator, word of the day. And speaker number 2, Venkateshan, had used word of the day and theme of the day once. And Toastmaster Venkateshan, during his TT speech, used theme of the day once. Guest Sakir had used word of the day and theme of the day once. And TT speaker DTM Sampath Saurirajan, sir, I assume that he had used it because there were few distractions that happened during his speech. With his lip movement, I just assumed that he had used it. And last but not least, timer used word of the day and theme of the day once.
Thank you, Toastmaster Surya, for your detailed report. Looks like, okay, Surya, you're on mute. So I assume that you completed your report. I'm very sorry.
No. Words that were used: empathy, speaker number 1, Priya, prepared speaker, and Toastmaster Venkateshan used words like aroma, luxuriate, and aftermath. Toastmasters Srinivas, who's our educational speaker, gave us a good grammar tip. He explained about content words and the structured words. So nice of him. He did my job partially. So I saved my time in providing grammar tip. And Toastmaster Dinesh used a word lavish, and Toastmaster Mohanasundaram used a word scenario. DTM Thomas, during his evaluation session, used a few words contemporary and tangible. So with that report, I'm handing over the stage back to DTM Suganti, General Evaluator. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster Surya, for the detailed report, and thank you for letting us know that you have supernatural powers to figure out what words we speak by just observing our lip movements. With that, now let me move on to present the General Evaluator's report. Firstly, as always, our meeting started bang on time. So kudos to all the role players and speakers and for larger terms for starting the meeting on time. So please give yourselves a pat on your back. Moving on, the President extended a warm welcome to all our members and guests, made us feel at home and appropriately introduced the Toastmaster of the day. Moving on, Toastmaster Kalyan, today you presented an interesting topic as the theme of today's meeting. I particularly like the examples which you used throughout the session, which most of us were able to relate to. It was not like preaching, but on the lines of making us think on the theme of the meeting. And you also made engagement with the audience by asking us questions or leaving us with open-ended questions which set us thinking. Kudos to you for choosing an interesting theme and for engaging the audience very well. Special words of gratitude to you for enabling a wise utilization of our time by bringing in an educational speaker in the form of Srinivasan, and for helping us to have a refresher, a quick course on voice modulation, especially when it was quite useful for all of to people like me. I'm sure the rest of the audience will also agree with me in that point. We had two interesting speeches which were objectively evaluated by both the evaluators. Of course, we did have Toastmaster Dinakaran also evaluate the table topics session. Toastmaster Jagan, you presented as a variety of topics of different levels, ones that were suitable for our Toastmasters and ones that were also easy, relatively simpler compared to the ones that were presented to members, which enable the guests also to interestingly participate in the table topics session. Kudos to the R counter and grammarian for the detailed reports, and kudos to our timer, although she had technical glitches. I'm so happy to see the way that she bounced back and resumed the responsibility of the timer. Now, moving on to areas where we could improve, I'm going to be a bit candid here. Whether we are speakers or role players, if we have to share our screen, I suggest that we notify the timer, because all of us know the timer will either will mostly share their screen to indicate the time limits to all of us. So if as a speaker or role player, if we start sharing and the timer gets to know only when the meeting is in progress, it does not give them an opportunity to plan for a backup. So if you're going to share your screen, please notify the VPE, who in turn can notify the timer. And as well as when we are the timer, we can also proactively reach out to all members who are participating in that day's meeting as to whether they will be also screen sharing during the progress of the meeting. The second thing is, now today I know that we had a small technical glitch during the progress of the meeting. But then when such a thing happens, I would humbly request either the VPE or the president to intervene and let us know if we have to wait for the timer to connect back, or is there a backup backup timer that is available who will immediately start timing. Because today I noticed we knew that we had a technical difficulty with the timing device, but then the table topics did continue without having a break. So I felt that we were penalizing the speakers. So this is somewhere that we know that it's going to be virtual meetings. So probably we could plan for a backup timer for all our meetings. Could be the Sergeant at Arms or somebody else who could be a standby, so that as soon as we see that there is a timing device failure, the other timer could come up. This is something that we practice in our contest. We always have two timers in our contest. Probably since this is a virtual meeting, we can also extend the same practice here. Next one is, again, I would request our VPE to please help the TMOD to understand when the ballots will be displayed. I understand today our go-to person for ballots, Toastmaster Sharanya, is away. But then as a Toastmaster of the day, one needs to know when the votes will be displayed. So probably the VPE can tell the Toastmaster of the day, and the Toastmaster of the day can also proactively find out from the VPE as to when the ballots can be launched. Another small request is, let's see if we can have a Zoom master for every meeting apart from the host and the co-host. Today I see the Toastmaster of the day is the co-host and the president is the host. But then sometimes what happens is somewhere an audience member gets unmuted when a speaker is on the virtual stage. That leads to some disturbance. If there is a designated Zoom master, a person can always monitor as to what's going on, mute people, and if somebody is unable to unmute themselves when they have to speak, this person can pitch in to provide the technical help. And in case if we have a problem with the timing slots, the Zoom master can intervene as the backup timer. So with that said, these are my observations for today's meeting. Returning this virtual stage back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Kalyan.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator, Distinguished Toastmaster Suganti Periyaswamy. Now let's coming into the end of the meeting. I've been saying for you to be fortunate, you should work hard, have focus, awareness, this and that. And suddenly, if you see the agenda, there is something which is called as test your fortune. Let us really, is there something which is called as a luck, or what exactly we mean by testing a fortune? That Toastmaster Adisai will just bring us on stage. Timer, there is a small change in it. This timing is exactly going to be 5 minutes so that you can just straight away run the red card when we come in the 4th minute. So it will be easier for Adisai to understand what he's going to stop him, the session there. Toastmaster Adisai.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kalyan. Am I audible? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So this session is called Test Your Fortune. And if you remember in the beginning of the meeting, the Toastmaster of the day defined one of the two things that the Toastmaster of the day said that constitute fortune is focus, other one being planning. So with this session, the goal is to test your focus. This will be a listening quiz, and I will be asking you questions where anyone present in the meeting can answer. And the only objective with this is to find out how attentive you were throughout the session and whether you were focusing on speeches or, like guest Srini said, you were focusing on eating, sleeping, or doing other things during the meeting. So this is a race against the clock. I have 4 minutes left. So let's just begin. Let's dive right into it. The first speaker was Toastmaster Priya Darshini. Now, what deal did Priya make with herself right before her exam? Anyone can answer, of course, except Toastmaster Priya.
Can you please repeat the question?
If she fails, she quits.
Yeah, exactly. If she fails, she quits. And what was the result of that exam?
Just pass.
Just to pass. Just to pass.
Just pass.
Pass. And then going forward 1 year, 1.5 years, towards the end of her exam, what was the result back then?
First class.
First class.
Right. Moving on to the next speaker, Toastmaster Venkatesan. Now, of course, you are not eligible to answer Toastmaster Venkatesan. In the beginning of your speech, you had a very nice story about a person who was meditating. Let's call him Mr. Meditator. So in the story, what were the two major distractions that Mr. Meditator had while he was meditating? Let's have two people
Coffee
answer this.
smell, aroma from coffee aroma and doorbell.
Newspaper and coffee.
Newspaper and coffee. Yes,
Coffee.
That's correct. Those were the two. So Mr. Meditator was worried that he won't be able to read the newspaper because his wife gave it to the neighbor. Now, throughout his speech, throughout Toastmaster Venkatesan's speech, there were two words that were repeated over and over again. These were the keywords of the speech, and meditation started with an M. Yeah. So even before I defined it, meditation was one, and what was the other word? This one had more emphasis. Mindfulness, exactly. Mindfulness and meditation. These were the two words that capture the essence of all of Toastmaster Venkatesan's speech. Now, coming to the session by Toastmaster Srini, what was one thing that he emphasized towards the end of the speech that all of us should follow? That was digital meeting etiquettes. Can we quickly recount 3 of those etiquettes that he talked about?
Digital reactions.
Keep the camera on.
Right.
Digital reactions.
One more. We have to
connect to the Ethernet cable than Wi-Fi.
Yep. I think Toastmaster Venkatesan was the most attentive of all of us. So far, most answers. And what homework did Toastmaster Srini give all of us towards the end of the session? This is something very unique.
Watch a movie from Nagesh.
No. That was not Toastmaster Srini. what homework did Toastmasters Trini give?
To recite rhymes.
Yes, exactly. To recite rhymes and to use that to find out, to work on your tone. Now, quickly wrapping up, race against the clock, like I said earlier. Last question. In Toastmaster Dinesh table topic speech, what movie did he reference and why did he use that specific reference?
Arnachalam, because spending the money in a short period.
Right. And what amount was, what was the time?
30 crores.
30 crores.
In how many days?
30 days.
30 days.
Yes, that's correct. So I believe I have a few seconds left, but I will take this time to thank all of you for interacting with the session and making this successful. Thank you for being attentive and thank you for creating your fortune by focusing. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Adisai. Thank you very much for doing a great job in a very limited time. And I may request the vote counter to run the voting screen, please. Can you just vote for the best speaker and the best evaluator? Best, if you can just scroll this, there will be you can vote for the best table topic speaker, and you can also vote for the best role player. You can just scroll down. People who can just scroll, and then you can just start voting for the respective. And while you are all voting, I will just conclude and hand over the baton to our presiding officer. I simply end it this way. Let me again borrow Tamil on this. It's something Devatal Agadenum, Moyarchidam Mayvarata Kulitaram, which means even God says no, you put in your effort, fortune will favor you. Over to the presiding officer of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kalyan. What a euphoric meeting, and especially with experienced Toastmaster like you getting into the Toastmasters and our regional advisor, DTF Sugandhi, coming in as GE. A lot of things, a lot of learnings, a lot of improvement points that need to be looked into, and which makes Medley different from any other club in our district. Kudos to both of you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what a wonderful session of speeches. And I'm so happy that we have Toastmaster Priya starting her pathway session with the icebreaker today, an important milestone in the Toastmaster journey. I think I congratulate her for the icebreaker speech. And before we go into the polling and announcing the list result, May is also going to be another euphoric month, primarily for so many reasons, because in May, the next month, today being a Labor Day, 9th, we are having a Mother's Day, where 8th, we will have a Mother's Day celebrations, which is like having it on our meeting. And on 15th, we have our milestone meeting number 625, and we will also have the election. That's two things which is coming. So the meeting, we will start early at 2 p.m. And then we will have the election after the meeting. The reason, and it is the meeting is chaired, or the meeting chair is none other than our euphoric Toastmaster, Amita, and she's doing every role, coordinating for the whole meeting. So we will have an exciting meeting plan, and two key keynote speakers which we have identified and they have agreed. They're part of the. It's primarily on leadership, where we will have a person called Chandu from IMA alum. He's an entrepreneur, evangelist, and I think. And then there is another person called Rashmi Bansal. She's one of the another IMA alum. She's author, storyteller, and a different kind of business author. Like she talks about entrepreneurs and have an interview with entrepreneurs, and a great philanthropist and motivational speaker. So we will have two of them as keynote speaker, and there are a lot of other surprises planned by Amita. I just wanted to give you a key so that we would like to have everyone attending the meeting. And now to announce today's, before I announce today's winner, we have guest Sanjay. Can I request Sanjay to talk about how did you feel about today's meeting, and how did you came to know about? Yes, Sanjay.
Well, hi. I attended last week's meeting as well, and today's meeting again has been a pleasant experience. Good to see everyone again. I can see Sugandhi grinning, like, who is this person? And yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The prepared speeches were good. I haven't seen Srinivasan speak in a very long time, so that was a very refreshing reminder as well. And the evaluations, including the one by Sugandhi, being critical and constructive at the same time. This is what we're here for, and it's been a wonderful way to spend a Saturday.
Thank you, Sanjay. Looking forward you to be a part of our medley soon. Now let me announce the winner. The best table topic goes to Toastmaster Atishay Jain. Congratulations, Atishay. The best evaluator goes to DTM Thomas. Congratulations, Thomas. And the best tag player goes to Toastmaster Surya as Grampian. And the best role player goes to our TMOD Toastmaster Kalyan. And now the best speaker goes to Toastmaster Priyadarshini. Congratulations, Priya. So with the imaginary gavel, let me close meeting number 623, and looking forward to seeing you all in the next week, meeting number 624. Opening up for the chat